This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, and this is a review, really quick, of Wanda Vision episode 7. I know that the other people have already talked about it, and it just came out, just premiered yesterday, but I didn't get around to it until today. This episode is not the penultimate one, that's the next one. But in this one, it's a tie-in to a number of different sitcom tropes and things, such as the whole show is. I'm not familiar with this show they're spoofing, though. Although at the end it's clearly like Bewitched crossed with Are You Afraid of the Dark. But at the beginning, there's a little bit of like circus clown stuff from like X-Files almost, and some other stuff. Yeah, so yeah, the premise is that the Vision is on another part of the town that's been ballooned out. They've moved the base further out from it, 8 miles out from it. But Kat Dennings' character was swallowed into the Nexus and meets up with Vision, and she's part of the circus act. But it's only a part of the act. Meanwhile, Wanda is going batshit insane in her house and seeing different things changing around her and stuff. After she made it larger somehow, is connected to Agnes, who is clearly the red herring in the beginning, but has become in a mystery story. The second person introduced sometimes is the villain. Yeah, it's gonna be. It's just pretty obvious. From the get-go, that's what's going on. She eventually gets the twins, and because he's going crazy. The mother's going crazy, but her mind is going crazy, and she's got like apparently they cut to like the reality TV where they're breaking the fourth wall and they're talking to the camera about what's happening to them. There was a milk carton with a missing kid picture on it. One of the twins is missing on the milk carton. There's a lot of other things. Nods to other things in there. They build this Mars rover thing and they try to send it into the void, and it bounces, it gets knocked off of it and turned into a truck. But then the Captain Rembue, she manages to walk right through it because she has she has the powers of an Avenger, and she lands like an Avenger a couple of times. So she's the next Captain Marvel. In the comic books, you know that. It's just, she's the Black Captain Marvel. Yeah, in the comics. The later ones. That's just the description of what she is. So there was and they introduced her in the 90s version of Captain Marvel as a kid, and now she's an adult. Also have Kat Dennings, who is playing the character from Thor: The Dark World. And interestingly enough, they keep going back to Thor: The Dark World. There was a lot of elements in that in Avengers Endgame as well. Even though The Dark World was the least popular Thor movie, for some reason they kept going back to it. I guess just to make it more popular or something. But yeah, So, and they keep showing like made-up fan trailers of Love and Thunder. None of them are really the trailer. They haven't done anything with it yet. So, all those fan trailers, they've taken footage from Natalie Portman in something else and said, "Oh look, see, there it is, see." No, they're lying. There is no trailer yet. It'll happen. It just hasn't happened yet. Which is why some of the other people are confused, and they're out there going like, "Oh, well, there's the trailer thing," and it doesn't look good. Oh, that's because it's a fan thing. Some fans put it up there. It doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's not up yet. There's a Mortal Kombat trailer, but that's different. So we have, which could be another fan thing too. I don't know. She goes crazy. Basically, I summarized it. I was kind of giving away elements of episode 7, but there's probably a lot more reviews out there that go into the details of that. Now that they've caught up to where the sitcom is going, but also flashback to they keep, some of these reviews mention Bewitched, but I would say less Bewitched and more Are You Afraid of the Dark, which was a Nickelodeon show back. Especially the creepy basement scene at the end. So they also indicate that the Sword Army people have the Army people, they're actually trying to find Vision's corpse out of the Nexus in order to make, or to get his data, I guess, even though they could totally do that anyway. They don't really need it. There's a super weapon or something, so there's this, like, and the Rambio works for the FBI part of it, so she's the X-Files person, so she's trying to get the other thing out of there. Trying to go in there and stop her, and goes and gets her Marvel powers and stuff. She's dressed in what appears to look like a Star Trek: The Next Generation uniform, but it's kind of a light blue, a Troy uniform, but light blue on the chest part. But it's yeah, but it has a medallion. So yeah, that's what she changes into it. She gets through it. Yeah, Vision and Kat go out and find the thing and get her on their way, and they get stopped at the traffic light by all kinds of crazy things that happen. So they fix the light, and there's like this crossing guard goes by and all that stuff to stop them at the edge of town, so they can't get in there. So is the witch behind the whole thing, it turns out, and not her. Or are they both magical, or what? She kind of says they are. And is Doctor Strange going to show up? Because it's supposed to be magic. At the end, it was pretty much out of an 80s horror movie, including A Book of the Dead. One fan theory is that she actually had twins at some point. The other lady had twins. The girl, Wanda, had twins, but they died, and then she felt guilty about it. But I don't think that's really what's going on, though, because she couldn't have had twins with the robot. That doesn't make sense. No, it's not that. She's just imprinting on. Maybe Agnes did, because we don't know anything about her. I think Agnes did. It's the other way around. That's my theory. Yeah, because that doesn't make sense unless they break the fourth wall even further and Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen show up, hang out with Elizabeth Olsen, because we didn't want to be on Fuller House, even though that would have made sense. We want to be in this instead. Kind of funny, because they are the twin sisters of Elizabeth Olsen, who's playing Wanda. Breaking the fourth wall, I think was the name of it. But we're not going to do the episode titles in these reviews, just because it's episode 7. So so what's the episode? It's about 40 minutes long. There are 2 more. There's an 8th and a 9th one. This was the Mark's Cards episode. Yes. A little bit of Kal Kat in there. Mark's Cards episode. We didn't write it, but it sure seems like something we would have written back when we were like in college. I'd have written something. Not now though, I don't think. Captain Rambio, not Rambo, Rambio. Yes, it's French. Anyway, so Cajun French, yes. Which is different from French Canadian French. Different. That would be more like, crabs and lobsters and stuff. Crabs? Oh no, they got the crabs. Be like fish and stuff. You don't want to eat too much out of the Great Lakes though, because they kind of messed them up with all kinds of like pollutants. They just dumped in the lake. Yeah, probably don't want to do that. Yeah. So. But yes. Anyway, so yeah, they're not going to reference that in the movie or in the show. But they might reference witches fighting each other, which they kind of hinted at in the last one, if you're paying attention. She was allegedly trying to escape, but she wasn't trying to escape. It wasn't a secret. The only other actor in it is basically the other lady. She's got to be she's got to be in on it. The twist is that she is not aware that she's in on it. The other lady was aware that she's in it. So it's sort of a Shyamalan twist. Sort of, you know. And there's, yeah. Trying to animate his dead body. Why would they be doing that? Oh yeah, and they did fix an error. In an earlier episode, they said that it was 3 years since the snap. Well, in the episode, the very next episode, they said, no, 5 years. They mentioned that again, to make it 5 years later. So they actually screwed up the script. Then they realized what they'd done, and they're like, oh, 5 years, okay. So they did fix that. So is the whole town actually being manipulated, or is some of it? Probably some of it. And just because there aren't as many people, because of the snap in the other timeline, they're able to like mess with this timeline or something. Very silly Trek, very silly in space. Anyway, so yeah, there it is.